The Hollywood Reporter recently released an article covering some massive changes to Disney's upcoming theatrical slate, which included major franchises like Marvel, Avatar, and Star Wars. I went through the entire article and every release date change in a video on my other channel. You can find that in the description below. But for the sake of this video, I'll be going through just the 3 Star Wars films. The article gave us 3 brand new release dates for upcoming Star Wars films. While they can be assumed to be the 3 that were announced at Star Wars Celebration, helmed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, Dave Filoni, and James Mangold, we also don't know when Taika Waititi's film is on pace for, so that may be included here. The next Star Wars film, which has been all but officially confirmed, I believe, to be the new Jedi Order 1, seeing the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey, was originally supposed to premiere in theaters December 19th, 2025. However, due to the third Avatar movie being delayed a year from December 2024 to December 2025, this Star Wars film has been pushed back to May 22nd, 2026, which I think we can all understand. While many of us would be willing to watch Avatar and Star Wars opening weekend, theaters only have so many screens available, and nobody in their right mind would put 2 blockbusters of this scale on the same opening weekend. The May release date doesn't seem too bad. I, like many others, are a little disappointed that it got moved away from December. The sequels were the first time I was able to see a Star Wars movie in theaters, so between those 3 and Rogue One, seeing Star Wars over winter break became a yearly tradition for me. I just began to associate new Star Wars movies with that holiday season, so while I don't mind Star Wars going back to May like it originally was with A New Hope, it is a little disappointing. The big thing here, however, is that the next Avengers movie, Kang Dynasty, was delayed to May 1st, 2026, only 3 weeks before Star Wars. The last time this happened was when both Infinity War and Solo came out around the same time, and as many of us know, Solo did not perform well in the box office. 3 weeks may be a long enough time to dwindle the Marvel crowd down and get plenty of screens for Star Wars, but it is a little concerning given that this will be the first time Star Wars is back in theaters since 2019, a full 7 years later, and it'll likely be the post-Rise of Skywalker film, which has already received a fair amount of backlash from some fans for continuing Rey's story from the sequels. I feel like there's a lot riding on the success of this film. We'll just have to see if they've learned their lesson and decide to market both films to a somewhat equal amount, rather than waiting until a month or 2 before to begin marketing the Star Wars film, and still do a lackluster job at it like they did with Solo. Before this article, we didn't have release dates for any other Star Wars films, but we do now. Fans won't have to wait long to get back in theaters, as the next film will premiere December 18th, 2026, with only 7 months or so in between. We'll have to wait and see how it does with such a short time in between Star Wars films, but I am glad that it'll be back in December, like I explained earlier. And having such a short time in between makes me think that this could either be James Mangold's film showing the birth of the Jedi Order, or Taika Waititi's, which we still don't know the story of. Filoni's will be a culmination of the Mandoverse, set only 30 years or so before the new Jedi Order film, so I feel like it wouldn't make all that sense to have those 2 come out in the same year. But the second Star Wars film telling a drastically different story in a completely different time period, like thousands of years beforehand, that would explain the close release dates. And as of yet, the Star Wars film is currently alone in the holiday season, with the 4th Avatar film being pushed back a few years from its December 2026 slot. And then the following Star Wars film will premiere December 17th, 2027, only a year after the previous film. Again, we don't have any confirmation which films these will be, but it is good knowing that the wait will be worth it. It'll have been 7 years in between theatrical releases, but we'll then have 3 films released in a span of less than 2 years. Let me know how excited you are to see Star Wars back in theaters. Remember to like the video, and subscribe to stay up to date with all Star Wars news. As always, thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.